Hi, I'm Josh Allen from PSC Motorsports, and today we're going to be putting an assist kit on the 7.3 diesel. The cylinder assist big bore kit includes a new PSC big bore box, a new PSC high flow pump, reservoir, SRVT valve, steering cylinder, cylinder bracket and cylinder lines, a cooler lines and cooler mounting bracket, and 4 quarts of fluid. Let's get this little flathead right here. Let's pop open the air box. And now we've removed the top of the air box. Let's get our battery out. So now you pop off the top, and now you can get to the battery. You need to loosen this bolt right here, and this bolt over here to remove the charge pipe so that you have access to the pump and the top of the gearbox. Next, we're going to be removing this line off the gear and this line. Now, we pop our lines out of there, and we're going to pull out this bolt after we secure the steering wheel. Remove your cotter pin. Loosen this bolt and drop your drag link. Charlie, you ready to catch the gear? That's the last bolt, man. She's free. So now we're going to remove our pitman arm nuts to remove the pitman arm. So now we're going to put our pitman arm onto our new gearbox. So we're going to slip it on there. Now let's zap her down. Loosen our caps real quick while we have it boxed out. So after we loosen our caps, we're ready to install. You're going to pull the belt tensioner to the passenger side so that you can loosen up your belt. And you're going to just slide it off an idler pulley. And now your belt's loose, so now you can pull your alternator out and flop it over to the side to get your power steering pump and bracket out so we can modify the bracket to fit our power steering pump. In page 24 of your instructions, it comes with these templates. So these templates you're going to cut out, put on your bracket, stock Ford bracket to fit our power steering pump without having to remove the pulley. This other template will go on the top side, and it's clearance in it for the fill tube on the reservoir on the pump. now you got your bracket cut. So now let's slide our pump in there. And the 2 bolts holding the bottom of the pump on are going to be 15 millimeter. So now you're going to take your Allen head bolt, washer on the Allen head. You're going to put it right there and run that one all the way through. And now you're ready to reinstall your power steering pump. Let's grab one of the 15 millimeters, slide her on through. Let's drop her down into place. Make sure these guys are nice and tight. All right, so now we're going to reinstall our alternator. We got our power steering pump on, our alternator reattached. Let's go ahead and put our serpentine belt back on. We're going to pop off this return line to our reservoir that we cut earlier. So we're going to get the little band clamp loose and then pop that line off. All right, so now we're going to bust our other Hydroboost line loose. You need to temporarily remove this bolt so you can get the Hydroboost line bracket off. So now you got your pump line to your Hydroboost out. So after that guy's loose, you have another 9/16. But before you pull that guy off, let's make sure this side's tight. You can go ahead and remove this side. It's probably going to be easier to push it down and then pull it out of the way. And now you've removed the Hydroboost to the gearbox line. We're going to remove this little nipple so that this will be the auxiliary port on our reservoir. Before you install your line from your Hydroboost to your steering gear, and this little baggie, it'll come with a little O-ring. You need to put that on your line that goes into the gearbox side or your system won't seal. Now we're going to put our factory line from your Hydroboost over to your steering gear. We're going to go in the same routing that the original was in. All right, so now we're going to put the fitting where the nipple was on the Hydroboost, and this will be going from the Hydroboost to the auxiliary on the reservoir. We have that nice and snug. We are ready to put the last fitting on. And don't be forgetting to put your Loctite on. Make sure she's nice and snug, and now you're ready to put your high pressure line from your pump to your Hydroboost. Drop your fitting in. So now you got your fitting tight, put your line on. So we're going to prep our cooler by putting our fittings in before we install the cooler. So let's go ahead. These are MPT fittings, so you just screw them down until they get tight, because they are tapered, and the farther you screw them down, the tighter they get. Fittings are tight, so let's mount our cooler bracket and then mount our cooler to our bracket. So we're going to remove these two 8mm bolts right here. We're going to put our cooler bracket up here. And you want to make sure the bracket is up and you tighten it down. And now your cooler bracket's installed, we can install your cooler. We have our cooler to reservoir line right here. We're going to go ahead and put this guy right here. So that side's tight, that side's tight. So what we're also going to do is trim this rubber, this even right here, so it doesn't cover up your cooler and overheat your power steering system. Now you grab your intermediate shaft and slide it onto the input of the steering gear, just like that. We got to remove this upper radiator mount and install ours, because ours is what we mount our reservoir to. We're going to remove this. Then you're going to remove your rubber mount. You're going to take your new PSC rubber mount, slide your old rubber mount through. Now, you're going to take this guy, stick him back through there, run her on down until she's nice and tight. Now, you're ready to install your bracket. Let's tighten this guy up. Set our clamp right there. Woo. Your cooler return will be your import. You can put your auxiliary port in, and this will be going from the Hydroboost over to your reservoir. You got that in, you can start putting on your lines. So we're going to put the cooler return line on first. Now you're ready for your auxiliary line from your Hydroboost. And after that guy's cranked down, now you're ready for your feed line to your pump. The feed line up through here, just like that. We're going to start it on the reservoir first. So now we're going to put our SRVT into its new final home. Slide her up in there, like so. Now, let's tighten her down. And now, we are done with the top side of the kit. So let's go ahead and put our cylinder on. We need to remove this bolt, that bolt, that bolt, and that bolt to put our cylinder bracket on. All right, so now we're ready to put the cylinder on. So we're going to start with the bracket side. We're going to go ahead and get the bolt dropped in place, nut started. With the steering turned all the way to lock to driver, so the cylinder's fully collapsed, we're going to go ahead and put our clamp on. Now, before you tighten your jam nuts down, put the clamp on, you want to make sure your ports of your cylinder are clear of anything. Because on a Hydroboost system, if you lose your power steering fluid, you also lose your brakes. Going to go ahead and really crank down the back side, and on your clamp you want to try to get the space in between front and back about even. And it is easier after you got the clamp in position, pull your cylinder back off so you can tighten down the middle bolts so you can actually get your ratchet head on them. We're going to go ahead and tighten that down. Now our cylinder is secure. Now we can go throw the lines on. So now we're going to put the drag link back in. Now he's locking the cylinder down in place so the cylinder doesn't rotate and your cylinder lines don't get into anything. So he's locking down the jam nuts on the rod ends. Now we're ready to fill the system up.
All right, you're good.
All right, we just finished up the 7.3 kit. We're gonna go test drive it, and that's a wrap for today. For information on this kit or any of our components, head to pscmotorsports.com.